Good evening, everyone, and welcome to an evening of community reflections and the official launch of our Majonzi Fund. So I'm your host, Yancy Ralston from the Ubele Initiative, and I'm one of the program leads of BAMEstream, You Give Hope, and a champion of the Majonzi Fund. So why are we here? Well, we've had National Day of Reflection, for those of you who may know. The Ubele Initiative has been working tirelessly over the past 12 months to support our community and those who have been impacted by COVID-19. And the BAMEstream and the Majonzi Fund and You Give Hope are just some of the projects that we've been working on. Later on, you'll hear from our founder, Yvonne Field. For now, what I really want to say is that it's been a tough year. So many of us have lost loved ones, we've lost friends, we've lost family. I lost a dearly beloved friend in December. We spoke on the Saturday, and on the Monday, he said he was improving, and on Monday he left us, and his passing still hurts me. I'm a little bit emotional because I attended the funeral of a dear friend and colleague today, 3 hours long, so you need to forgive me, I'm still quite choked up by it. My friend who died in December was a very close friend of mine. He used to call me Dudu, and I don't know if you know this, but Dudu is a Trinidad term of endearment. So our conversations will start with, "Hi Dudu, you okay?" My response will be, "Yes, handsome, I'm okay, you?" And he'd say, "Yeah, I'm okay, you sure you okay?" And I'll be, "Yeah, I'm okay." But now there are no more Dudu messages, no more checking to make sure I'm okay, that I'm really okay. There's so much loss around us. And I want to say a big thank you to Marie Curie for recognizing the importance of this day. I know we have some of their staff listening in. So if you wish, you could say hello to us in the chat. We appreciate all that you do, the phenomenal work that you do, not just around National Day of Reflection, but all year round to support those people who are living with terminal illnesses and their families. So on behalf of all of us, thank you. Hi, Paula. Hi. So Marie Curie is saying hi to us in the chat. Hi. At 8 p.m., one of the things we want is that we will have a moment's silence, but if you can turn on your cameras, shine your light, a candle, a torchlight, anything to reflect the memory of those we have loved, cared for, and those we have lost. So before further ado, we will start with the most beautiful intro from Drew and Nisha, and then we will be followed by a few words from our founder and CEO, Yvonne Field.
Om Shiva 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 Om Shiva 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 Om.
Thank you so very much, Janice. Thank you. Can I ask, was that your own composition?
Yes, it was. We just made that up. Yeah.
What? Tell us a little bit. What was it about? It was so moving. Thank you.
Did you want to say yours?
Really, yeah, we just wanted to kind of honor the ancestors from all around the world. So you would have heard the sound, the universal sound of Shiva, which is kind of sound in motion and stillness. There was the divine water goddess, Yamaya.
Yamaya.
Who else?
There's Gaia, just
Gaia, of course. Mother
Ashe,
Earth.
Yoruba.
Yeah.
And
our purpose in life, Ikigai.
Ikigai, or Japanese.
Yeah, there's quite a few.
Yes, just respect and love for life.
Life and sounds of life within people, so vibrations. Yeah.
Thank you so very much. That was so moving. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you. What a wonderful start to today. And then now we're going to have Yvonne Field, our CEO, the boss lady, is going to tell us about Ubele, what we've been doing for the past 12 months.
Thank you, Yancy. Thank you, Yancy, and thank you, Drew and Partner, for that beautiful rendition. You know, just thinking about the past 12 months, you know, I sit with really conflicted feelings. 12 months ago, at this point in time, my daughter and I, we both contracted COVID. We'd been on in fact, she'd taken me on a special birthday jaunt to Rome. And although we thought long and hard before going to Italy, because COVID had, you know, taken hold in the north in particular, we thought we'd be relatively safe, and went off on this 3-day little treat that she had given me for my birthday. Fortunately, although we got COVID, I was able to work through it. In fact, she ended up in bed, but I had this cough for 2 weeks, continuous cough. And it was awful because every time I got on the phone to somebody or went on the internet, people were saying, what's that coffee from? Are you okay? And I wasn't quite sure what was going on. It wasn't until June or July that I realized, after an antibodies test, that I realized I'd had COVID. She was much more sick than I was and stayed in bed for a few days. You know, I've watched family and friends go through this really difficult time in terms of being sick, in terms of nursing people within their networks, within their families, at the same time trying to hold a distance, as we've been told we should do, as well as look after ourselves and do all the things that we've had as messaging during the last year. It's been such a confusing past 12 months, and so much has changed. Ways of being in communities changed, ways of living have changed. I know I've got friends and family who've been quite socially isolated, friends that have been on their own for the whole 12 months and just been conversing with people through digital technology. It has really been incredibly hard. And last night when I listened to Panorama, reflecting back on the last year, one of the amounts of data that I heard, one of the data sets that I heard that was shocking, was that England has had 15 times higher levels of COVID than Kerala in South India. And it was just like, you know, how could this possibly be? But that was a fact that was actually shared. And we know that our government often's been on the back foot. I'm not politicizing here, but actually there's often been support in the aftermath, after the event. And as a result, we've actually about 130,000 people have died over the past year. And I have known some of them. Fortunately, within my direct family group, and nobody's passed away, but I know that it's been tough. And a lot of people have been left with deep hurt and feelings about what's happened. The Ubele Initiative was set up in 2014, and the past 12 months have been absolutely, well, extraordinary, stretching, sometimes joyful, but often very difficult. We were actually perched on the edge of change prior to COVID, because last February, a few things happened that meant that we were quite strategically located in order to respond. And thank goodness for that. We've actually developed a whole host of projects over the past year, and BAMEstream, which is bereavement support to Black and minoritized communities, and supporting the Majonzi Fund has been part of that. But also we've done projects with young people, young adults who are millennials and Generation Z, to actually capture their experiences under COVID and lockdown, because the voices of our young adults have not really been to the fore. We know that they've been struggling with mental health and feelings of isolation, but we don't know too much about what's happened to them. So we've been capturing stories, and we'll be presenting the results of that project in May. We also got involved in a number of initiatives in relation to funding. I just want to really pay homage and to congratulate those organisations, small micro organisations, some of them who have income of less than £10,000. But they've actually stepped up and stepped in and provided really, really vital support to our communities and to families and to young people with little or no resource. Those organisations have been the backbone of our communities, and they often get overlooked. So I'd really like to just thank them deeply from the bottom of my heart that actually to say that you've done a sterling job to provide support. In terms of funding, as I was mentioning, we have been on an interesting journey over the last year. In fact, in last January, I keep repeating this, but I think it's really important that actually Ubele, in terms of funding as an organisation, we had European funding, but that had to stop because of COVID. We couldn't travel anywhere. But in terms of UK-based funding, we only had £10,000 from the lottery. Organisations that fund initiatives were not interested in funding Black-led and minority-led initiatives prior to COVID and Black Lives Matter. And I'm just saying it equivocally because, or unequivocally actually, because that evidence speaks for itself. However, with the disproportionate impact of COVID on Black and minoritized communities and Black Lives Matters, this seemed to have been a change somewhat, and there's been a shift in the funding priorities and decisions by those that hold considerable resources to go to community groups. However, much of this funding has been temporary in nature, and much of it is running out this month because it's the end of the financial year. And we know we're still obviously within the pandemic. We're now anticipating a fourth wave. We're still within the third wave. So the needs of communities are even going to be even more challenging and even more necessarily in need of support by these organisations to ensure they can continue providing services and support to communities. So I would suggest that funders continue to support through emergency funding. I just want to lastly say something about partnerships, because the work that we do, we would not be able to do without really fantastic relationships with people who work within organisations that are aligned with our values and that have come forward to work with us. So in the past year, we've worked with Global Fund for Children and the Phoenix Fund. We've worked with Power to Change. We've worked with Patrick Vernon, the Majonzi Fund. We've worked with Locality, and we've worked with a number of smaller Black and minoritized communities, amongst others, and you know who you are. It's been an amazing relationship. We've also worked with organizations, Black and minoritized organizations within different regions. So it's not just about London, it's about the whole country. I'd like to thank all of you, every one of you, for working with us, collaborating with us, supporting us, journeying with us, because without you, we couldn't have done the work that we've been able to do. So thank you very much. Today is a very special and unique day. It's a day for deep reflection, to think about what's happened. And I know every one of us here this evening and every one of us around the country will have been impacted by COVID in some way or shape or form, even if you've not had it directly, even if your family members or friends have not had it. We've all been impacted. The fact that we're connecting through Zoom this evening means that we've been impacted by COVID and what's happened around the world. I would just like to acknowledge that and to say that, you know, we have shown that we are resilient people. We've shown that we're innovative people. We show that we're supportive people. And it's brought out the best of us, I think, during this year, and long may it continue. So I'd like to thank you for inviting me to speak to you. I'd like to thank the team of Ubele, which has grown over the last year, has been absolutely awesome. It's included Yancy and Patrick and many others. I feel really humbled and blessed to be able to work with such fantastic people who are at the top of their game, really committed, really very playful at times when we need to be playful, but also really serious and intentional in their work. We couldn't have done this without you. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And yeah, I'll stay with you for the rest of the evening. Be good.
Thank you, Yvonne. Thank you very much. The work has been a lot. I don't know how you do it. I want to ask the question, when do you sleep? Do you work in your sleep? How do you do it?
No, I don't work in my sleep, but I'm a very early morning person, so I've got energy in the morning. This time of the day is not so good for me, but no, I mean, I do it, you know, because I love to do it. It's really important work, but also I feel really humbled and blessed to do work that I love, and also to be surrounded by and supported by a phenomenal group of people. So that gives me energy and drive to know that, you know, we're all in this together. We're working on this together. So yeah.
Thank
And
you.
thanks
So
for all
what
the
I've
lovely
just said,
messages that are coming through. And hi, Pen, and hi, Haley. I also call out to you, as worked in partnership with us over the last year. Thank you so much.
yeah, thank you very much again, Yvonne. And one of the organizations that has been doing a phenomenal amount of work is Tara Arts. And we've got Abdul to tell us some of what they have been doing to support communities.
Hi everyone. Sorry to join late, and I'm going to apologize in advance. I'm going to have to leave early as well, just because of some. It's just the time of day, and there's a few things that I need to get done. Work's been quite full on recently. I guess it's useful just to kind of give you guys a sense of the last 12 months has been a real roller coaster on a personal front, and then I'll talk a little bit about Tara and a project specifically about honoring the people who've passed, honoring and celebrating the people who've passed away due to or during COVID. But at the beginning last year, this time I was in I was in Cardiff. I was running a theatre company based there, and then the Tara opportunity came up. And Tara Arts, if nobody knows, is a theatre company with a theatre in South London, Wandsworth, and the organization is the oldest Black, Asian, ethnically diverse led organization, a theatre company in the UK. And I took over the organization in August, so towards the end of the first lockdown. And I remember, from a personal point of view, I always saw kind of COVID was there, but it wasn't quite in my space as such. I was hearing lots about it. And then after I'd started the job, in the second lockdown, it started to creep nearer. I'm of Bangladeshi heritage, so I was hearing about a lot of people connected to my family who'd passed away. My mum wasn't very well, so we were trying to make sure that she didn't get COVID. So it was a really, really tough time. And then in the third lockdown, it really came home, and I got it. My sister-in-law was hospitalized by it, and then when she left, she couldn't walk for a while, and she's still struggling. And a number of other family members got it, and it really impacted us. But yeah, in terms of the work, so one of the things that we decided, or I decided very early on, was to look at how we honor and celebrate those that we've lost due to or during COVID. And we are currently developing a project called A Final Farewell. And the idea behind the project is to collect stories of people who've passed away. And in turn, I am working with a writer called Sudha Butcher, who will turn these recordings into monologues. And then we'll get these monologues recorded, and we'll get the audience to listen to these monologues whilst also retracing the journeys that some of these individuals took when they were alive, in order to celebrate and see the world as they saw it. The piece, like I say, it's a celebratory piece. Each show, each event will finish at Tara Theatre, and there will be a moment where we say goodbye to these individuals, and we are also thinking about how we create a memorial and how people add to it. So at the moment, what we are doing is looking for people to come forward and share their stories of loss. I lost my mum at the end of last year. It wasn't due to COVID, but and that's how I came across this initiative, because of BAMEstream. But the idea of trying to grieve during this period has been really difficult, because we can't do what we would normally do. And so it's really trying to unpick some of that and find ways that we can come together, be using digital tools, using things that have become synonymous with the last year, like walking, because that's all we've been able to do in terms of keep healthy. So it's kind of taking some of that and really trying to create something quite special out of it. And at the moment, we're looking for stories from, you know, across Wandsworth, but we are also looking to develop this piece so it can happen in other places across London and the UK, and maybe even internationally. So I'll put a link into the chat. If anyone is interested, please feel free to get in touch with us. And if you know of people that might be interested, please do get in touch with, you know, send the details on. I'll also put my email address if anyone wants to get in touch with me. Feel free to drop me a line. But this is great, and I really appreciate and feel honored to have been asked to come and talk. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Abdul. And first, on behalf of all of us here, we would like to send our condolences to you on the loss of your mother. What a great project. What an amazing project, because that will go so far in helping people with the grieving process. And I just wish it could be UK-wide, because it's phenomenal. At the end of it, what do you propose to do with those stories?
At the moment, if we can raise the funding, what we want to do is hopefully create a space that those stories sit and can be accessed at any time. But we're looking into that. We've got the funding to be able to do this initial version that we're proposing. But the next bit of it would be to create a space, whether that's an online space. We're not quite sure yet, but we really would like something to exist, which is an open source space that people can upload, download stories, listen to people's stories. And hopefully it will be UK wide. So we are hoping to move it around to different parts of the UK. That's the ambition. Obviously, we need to see how it works locally, just to see how the initial version would work before we take it on the road. But that's the ambition with it.
Well, you know, they say if you manifest it, it will happen. So we're going to put it out there for you. It will happen. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And thanks for putting the details in the link. And then we have Amanda. So before I introduce Amanda, on a Friday since last April, we've been having the You Give Hope Friday evening entertainment sessions. It started last April after there were 3 young men who had indicated that they were having suicidal thoughts. And apart from signposting them to mental health services, one of the things was, if they're struggling, what about the others? What can we do to keep spirits up in our community? And out of that, our You Give Hope Friday was born. On a Friday from 7 to 9, 10, 11 even, we just come together with some artists, musicians, some of them are in the space today, and there's poetry, and there's singing, and there's musical instruments, and more importantly, lots and lots of laughter, comfort, and love. And Amanda is one of these who comes and shares her words with us. So Amanda, please, what have you got for us this evening?
Thank you, Yancy. Thank you for having me. I've got 2 poems for you, and one is called Remember Me. So I'll share them with you. First one's called Remember Me. Shed no tear for me, for I am gone beyond the clouds. My life on earth was all too fleeting, but you made every moment count. Remember me with joy, remember me in song, for I'm away in the distance, another universe. I'm so glad we had this time together here on earth. Raise your head with fondness and wipe away your tears. You shall never be lonely, for I shall always be near. And as the years roll by, the pain and the hurt will ease. Remember each time to smile when you remember me. And that's the first one. Thank you. And that one was I wrote that out of a conversation I had with Brian, actually, about loss and remembering those that have passed. So I just wanted to share that one. And my second one is for, it's called The Day Trip. And it's called The Day Trip for Queenie. She twirled in the sun as if she was young again, head held skyward. It was the music that made her move, the calypso tunes and soca from her youth. When calypso rose begin to sing, all this carnival in my brain, mass fever driving me insane. I said, mass in California. That song made Queenie move. The warmth from the Caribbean came as music. And although over 5,000 miles away, it radiated an energy that remained in her and flowed through her that day. Queenie resided here in the UK in the red, white and blue. And like so many of her Windrush generation, she was torn between the two. That day by the sea, as Queenie danced, a crowd appeared. And as they looked on, Queenie smiled and they cheered. Oh, how she continued to dance without a care. She brought life to the grey stone pavement that lay dormant beneath her feet, tapping out the joyous rhythms of the calypso and soca beats. Queenie wore a cream raffia Stetson upon her head, offering a touch of shade from the sun's mild rays. The sea, still and calm, had long abandoned the beach and offered acres of sand in her absence. And the men nearby were oblivious and to the newly formed dunes and played their dominoes. Black and white tiles attacking the table in fine strategic style. Their fun and their laughter echoed as it floated in the air. As jokes, drinks and rotis they all began to share. A beautiful day along the promenade where Queenie laughed and Queenie danced. And that was written for Edna Queenie Patterson. She was a Windrush Empire and a member of Friends of Ruby Down who passed away this time last year.
Thanks, Amanda, thanks.
Thank you.
Two beautiful pieces. I hope you do them again at our next Friday's event. But thank you so very much.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. Thank you very much. So for those who are here, what is BAMEstream all about? Some of you already know. But as Yvonne said, in the early days of the pandemic, we were hearing about the disproportionate number of Black, Asian, and minoritized ethnic people, or people of color, some say, who were losing their lives to COVID. And it is because of what was happening in the community that BAMEstream was born. So BAMEstream is an alliance which is led by Helen George, who sends her apologies, Patrick Vernon and myself, together with a collective of practitioners, therapists, policy experts, activists, and academics. And we all specialize or work in the area of mental health. Really, the core purpose is about raising awareness and addressing the urgent mental health and well-being needs of our communities, particularly around grief, loss, and bereavement. We know that the quarantine situation has made it quite difficult for us to communally come together to celebrate the lives of loved ones, to offer condolences to families, to share memories, stories, to break bread, to share meals, to attend funerals. We haven't had at the time or the space to perform memorials, rituals, and grief in the way that we are used to. Early on in the pandemic, when Dame Jocelyn Barrow passed away, her funeral was streamed online. There were, I think, 4 people at her funeral. We know that as a member of our community, she would have had the most amazing Notting Hill Carnival from the funeral, from the tabernacle all the way down Notting Hill. That's one of the things that we've been missing. So one of the first things BAMEstream did was to carry out a mapping exercise across England to get a snapshot of mental health services that we're providing in the UK for Black, Asian, and minoritized communities, and to find out how organizations that were delivering those services were responding to the impact of COVID-19. That information was then used to inform the way the service was developed. And some of you, I know, are familiar with it because you've accessed it. BAMEstream currently offers 3 free sessions to anyone who is struggling with grief, loss, or bereavement as a result of COVID. And that service is offered by an organization called Nafsiat, where they offer support in 20 different languages. Additionally, BAMEstream has had a number of conversations. We've had webinars, some with international colleagues, and we've had a grief cafe, which was done with the Black and Asian Counseling Psychologists group. We've had our You Give Hope Friday evening entertainments, and so far we've had artists from 30 different countries sharing their talents with us. We've had 116 people tune in to 1,300 people tuning in. So it is hitting the spot. Additionally, we collaborated with some other organizations, and my friend Tashini's in the space. Hi, Tash. And she spearheaded a project to provide meals for disadvantaged and vulnerable people. And over Christmas, we were able to provide, I think it was 23-course Christmas meals and lots of other meals during that entire Christmas week. What we'll be doing soon. So soon we'll be launching, of course, some more grief cafes. We will be launching some podcasts, one of which will be aired on Thursday on Colorful Radio. We're doing radio programs, we're recording one tomorrow, and other services. We'll be co-creating a toolkit with young people. And the idea is that the support will be age appropriate, but also giving a space for young people to have their stories told and heard. A bit like Tara Arts are doing, we want to hear people's stories. So if you want some more information, pop over www.BAMEstream.org. I know a lot of people have a bit of issue with the BAME in the BAMEstream, but the whole idea is it's a sort of activist way of saying, put us in the mainstream. We are part of your mainstream. So please do, if you or anyone you know needs support, I'll say it again, www.BAMEstream.org. It's really simple. It's a very short form you complete, and that form goes directly to Nafsiat, the organization that provides the support. And the idea is that you would be seeing, or whoever it is would be seeing, maximum 7 days turnaround. So Alexander is one of those artists who's been supporting us on a Friday. He's always there. Additionally, Alexander wrote a very special song for us. So without further ado, I will introduce my family, sort of ish, Alexander the Great, BBC's Calypsonian in resident.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Yancy. Oh boy. Yes, I'm gonna sing this song now. I'm very pleased to do so. It's so hard to grieve in isolation when the climb before us looks immense. Whether partner, close friend, or relation, loneliness can feel much more intense. As more of a struggle with bereavement, we can't let this virus get control. Take time off to cherish our achievements, letting precious memories fill your soul. Sometimes we hurt so much, sometimes we feel their touch, sometimes we are hostile, sometimes we want to smile, sometimes we have to scream, sometimes we're in a dream, sometimes we rise above, sometimes we just feel love, sometimes. Special days are when these things most matter. Diwali, Christmas, Pesach, Ramadan. Help is there for us before we shatter. Whether we are child, woman, or man, suffering in silence can't resolve it. Locking up the pain we're going through. Oh yes, peer groups are there who may help to solve it. Reaching out is what we need to do. Sometimes we hurt so much. Sometimes we feel their touch. Sometimes we are hostile. Sometimes we want to smile. Sometimes we have to scream. Sometimes we're in a dream. Sometimes we rise above. Sometimes we just feel love. Sometimes we may think our heart is healing. Other times we sure it's going to crack. No one else can know just how we're feeling. Are we moving on or sliding back? Grief is like a basket full of sadness, filled with stories of a loving past. Telling them again can bring us gladness and ensure our memories will last. Sometimes we hurt so much. Sometimes we feel their touch. Sometimes we are hostile. Sometimes we want to smile. Sometimes we have to scream. Sometimes we're in a dream. Sometimes we rise above. Sometimes we just feel love. Sometimes.
Thank you, Alexander.
Thank you.
Be great, as always. Great name, great music. Thank you for that piece.
Yancy.
And Alexander has very kindly agreed to give all royalties of that song to the Majonzi Fund.
Yeah.
Thanks again, Alexander.
My pleasure.
And our Friday evening You Give Hope sessions has been so wonderful, so much amazing talent. Last week, we were introduced to a plant parent, Harmony Blue. Harmony, tell us about your plant parenting and then give us your wonderful music.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Harmony Blues. I am a founder of indigenousplants.uk. As you can see, I love plants. And yeah, I do plant tips, plant care. So if you're struggling with an unhealthy plant, I am your lady. So yeah, you can add me. But yeah, I'm here to sing a song. It's called Believe in Yourself. And here goes. Oh, yeah. Trust is the key. Trust all you need. Trust in yourself, nobody else. Trust is your friend. Only you can do what you came here to do. Don't let the naysayers and say anything. You got to realize how good you are and stop listening to those voices. You got to realize that you are a star and beware of the voices. You got the whole world in front of you. And only you can do what you came here to do. Yay, 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 yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh no, 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 no. Believe in yourself. 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 Oh, no, 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 no. Hey, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, 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 no. You got to break free from all that pain. Got to break free from all that rain. Got to take control of yourself and your life, baby. Hey, yeah, yeah, yeah. Only you can do what you came. Only you can do what you came. Only you can do what you came here to do. Oh, no, no, no. Hey, no, 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 no. Woo. Hey, no, 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 no. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, yeah, 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 yeah. Woo. Believe, leave, leave, leave. Believe, leave, leave, leave. Believe, leave, 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 leave. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Yeah, 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 yeah. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Yeah, 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 yeah. Believe in yourself. Each and every one, believe in yourself. You can put your mind to it, just believe. Thank you.
Woo! That's all I can say to that. Woo! Oh, Harmony Blue, wow. The range, the song, the lyrics, your vibe. And your plants are happy. I now know why your plants are so happy. Thank you so very much. One thing I must say, if you pop over to Ubele website, www.ubele.org, find out some of the projects we involved with. There's a plant project for you. So there you go. So it's Jeffrey Hines, the Admiral. What I want to say before I introduce the Admiral is that at 8 p.m., we ask folks to shine a light, whether it's your mobile phone light, a candle, a torch light, to reflect on those who we have loved and lost over the past 12 months. So Jeffrey Hines, the Admiral. Jeffrey is a magistrate, a boxing ref. He has the longest CV ever, but he's going to do something really special for us this evening. The Admiral Jeffrey, over to you.
Thank you very much. Good evening, all. And it's a pleasure to be part of this event, this pause for reflection. And the song I'm going to do tonight was requested by Brian Quiver of Ubele. And it's an adaptation of the Mighty Sparrows' 1973 song, dedicated to memories. And this is my take on the number. Each and every one I know, some good day will have to go right back from where they came. But good or bad, we must try all the same, not to be sad or heap scorn on their name. And every girl and boy who are sharing my sympathy, I must tell you this song is just dedicated to memories. Gloria Cummings, I'll always remember, jumping when a steel band passed, playing mass. Peppery, sugary, Gloria was never one for class. Gloria Cummings, wherever you are, compare. Just for you, I come out with real fire this year. Every year, somebody there give us cause to shed a tear and mourn, for they are gone. All that is left is a faint memory based on the theme of a strange melody. Still, we must think of them and record their image with pride, telling people from deep inside, this is dedicated to those who died. Bernie Grant, I'll always remember, what a parliamentarian. He took second to no one. Legacy, he stood for equality. Bernie Grant, wherever you are, compare. Just for you, I come out with real fire this year. Everybody knows someday someone who this year will not come out to play. And though we play, now and then thoughts will stray to that dear one who has long passed away. And for this carnival, while you're jumping up, take a break. Try and take in this song I made to remember for old time's sake. Lawrence Noel, I'll always remember, jumping when a steel band passed, playing mass. Sugary, peppery, Lawrence was never one for class. Lawrence Noel, wherever you are, compare. Just for you, I come out with real fire this year. Martin Luther, wherever you are, compare. Just for you, I come out with real fire this year. Nelson Mandela, wherever you are, compare. Just for you, I come out with real fire this year. Muhammad Ali, wherever you are, compare. Just for you, I come out with real fire this year. NHS workers, wherever you are, compare. Just for you, I come out with real fire this year. Lord Kitchener, wherever you are, compare. Just for you, I come out with real fire this year.
Oh, Thank you. Thank you, the Admiral. That was actually my dad's favorite song. And when he passed, that was on loop during his funeral. So thank you. Thanks for the memory. Thank you very much. So we've got 1 minute in which to do our lights. And for those who aren't on the panel, I ask if you do your lights, take a selfie, put it on social media, hashtag you give hope, and tag us Ubele Initiative, tag BAMEstream, tag the Majonzi Fund. So if you take a selfie with your candle, whether it's your phone, your torch, whatever it is, and we will just stop for a minute now, just to reflect with our lights on those we have loved and lost. Thank you so very much, everyone. Thank you for the reflection. And now I'd like to introduce to you my colleague, my partner in crime, Patrick Vernon, OBE, who will talk us through the Majonzi Fund, which was launched today.
Hi, good evening, everyone. It's really great that everyone's here. Everyone that's been involved in the Majonzi Fund, people who are here also to share their own personal grief and loss of family members, friends and neighbours, and the wider community. As Yancy said, today is National Reflection Day. We've been working in partnership with Marie Curie over the last few weeks in terms of making sure the voices of Black, Asian, Muslim communities are part of this day, to make sure that our voices and experiences are not hidden, that we're also here as part of this process. So I just want to thank Paula and the team for Marie Curie. I've been involved in some events today leading up to this, and in many ways, I hope that we could build on this in terms of making sure that our voices, our lived experiences, is just as valid as anybody else's experiences in Britain today. I think what we've done over the last 12 months is to really challenge and think differently what grief means to us. Prior to the pandemic, when we grieved, yes, we had our parties, our celebrations, our faith events, our community events, our different ways of doing that. And then because of the pandemic, we weren't allowed to do that. Some families did try to do that. I heard various stories of that. During the height of the pandemic, I have to confess, in Wolverhampton, where I'm from, my good friend, Paulette Wilson, who died, not connected with COVID, but she died during the period of the COVID period in July last year, of a broken heart and a broken soul because of the hostile environment policy. A lot of people came out to support her. we broke the restrictions. Don't make it lie. A lot of people came out because they had to say goodbye to her, Mama P, who fought and was the one that played a key role in helping to expose the Windrush scandal. We came out in hundreds of people came out to recognise her, and since then we're not allowed to do that. And so it's important we celebrate loss and grief. There's a lot to say, and I've got limited time to say that. So I'm sure Yanti will call me up and remind me, Patrick, we're going to stick to the timetable. But actually, I don't want to talk so much about the Majonzi Fund because all information is on the website, majonzi-fund.com. There's information about, for anyone who wants to apply for a small grant, up to £500 for community, for other family members, households, I should say, and community organisations to celebrate loss and grief, who family members or work colleagues who have died of COVID-19, which affects Black and Asian minority communities. And the reason why I established this with my support of Yvonne Field, big up to you, my sister. It's like extended family. Actually, the Ubele family is part of my family, to be quite honest, in many ways. And it's about to honour and to acknowledge our loss. Because and one of the motivations was I lost my brother-in-law, Alex. He died of COVID nearly a year ago. It still has an impact on my family in many ways. It's really hard for my family, especially for my sister and my nephew. And we're a private family, even though perhaps people know me out there in the media doing my stuff. My family's very private, like most families. We are grieving privately, and so I have to respect my sister, my nephew, and even though I do talk about my brother-in-law, I'm very careful to respect them because they're private people. So and that's one of the challenges around the whole stuff around grief. Some people are very happy to share it publicly. Others, like most of us, want to do it privately in our own way. And that's the purpose of the fund, to help people to do that as well. Linked to the fund, we've launched a memorial wall. I know there are several memorial walls. St. Paul's Cathedral's got one, other organisations, BBC have got one. But this wall is for people of colour. This is our wall. This is our space to acknowledge, to share stories, experiences of loved ones, people that we knew in the community, from the diversity of all the communities that's been disproportionately affected by COVID, to use that. So please, I do encourage people to go on the memorial wall, share stories, share the link as well, because this is quite important. I know I'm a cultural historian, and one thing I've learned about history, we have to write the history. We have to document the history, because no one's going to do it for us. So this is part of the process as well. And also, finally, you can donate. So far we've raised just under £100,000, and actually, if we want to give as much money out, we want to have as many rounds as possible if we could do that. But we still need more donations. So if you want to donate, I'm going to do a name check for all people who've been involved so far. But if you want to make a donation, big or small, just under 2,000 people have made donations from £5 up to £1,000 plus and more. So please, if you want to donate, it's going to a good cause. I'm not going to wear red nose like Lenny, but if you want to make it's for a good cause. It's for us. It's about, as Yancy said, and also what Yvonne said, it's our own agency. Yes, obviously there are mainstream organisations who are doing stuff, and we are working in partnership with them around campaigning, around better bereavement services, influencing the landscape, working with funders, but also about us. We have to put money in our pocket if we care about our communities ourselves, yeah? So please, if you want to do that. The Majonzi Fund is actually a Swahili word, meaning deep grief and sorrow. And actually it was Yvonne, because we were brainstorming, weren't we, Yvonne, trying to find that right word. We knew it had to be Swahili. We couldn't use Ubele. Oh, Ubele's been used already. Let's find another name. And we just looked and we found that name. So just thank you for that gift from Yvonne. She found the name. We'll search it everywhere, but we knew it had to be Swahili. And so it's fantastic that we've got the name, which, and now people have accepted the name. People automatically know Majonzi is about grief and sorrow pertaining to Black and Asian minority communities in Britain. And we have to recognise that in the early days of the pandemic, and we heard all the various stories of frontline workers dropping like flies, not having the PPE support, the government in denial, and still to a certain extent in denial. And we have to say, we have a voice, we have a lived experiences, we have contributed to Britain. We have put the great in Britain, but you've not respected us. And this is quite important as well, in terms of recognising and honouring grief. It's really important. I just want to say over the last 11 months, a lot of people have been on this journey in developing the Majonzi Fund, in terms of raising the money, in terms of contributing to the ideas. I just want to spend the next couple of minutes to acknowledge that, to acknowledge some of the people that have been involved in the fund. I first want to acknowledge Ubele, particularly Yvonne Field and her colleague, Michael Hamilton, and the whole Ubele team, who have supported, been 100% behind this. Without their support, there'd be no Majonzi Fund. They are looking after the money. It's in good hands. They've got a good accountant called Alan. And that's helped to raise the platform, to give people the confidence to raise the money. This is quite important, because often when we launch GoFundMe campaigns and fundraising campaigns, not often everyone wants to support that, basically, but it's important that we do that. So I just want to acknowledge the Ubele family for supporting that. I want to thank Yancy and Helen, who couldn't join us today, who we helped to shape and develop BAMEstream as well, which is kind of linked to the Majonzi Fund. I want to acknowledge Dina Rittman from GoFundMe. Now, with GoFundMe, as some of you have been on GoFundMe page, some of you might have done your own GoFundMe campaigns. I approached GoFundMe to say that we were launching this. We had a meeting with them. Yvonne had a meeting with them and their area director for Europe, and they were the first sponsors. They put £1,000 on the table to say, we support what you're doing. But I've actually worked with GoFundMe over the last 3 years. In total, if you include the money that we've raised so far with Majonzi, we've raised just probably about £250,000 I've raised over the last 3 years. Money connected with the Windrush scandal, in terms of the Windrush Justice Fund, which we funded community groups to give advice and support to Windrushers to sort out their citizenship and also claim compensation. Money that got fundraising ongoing for the Windrush anchor, and also I actually raised money for funeral costs, people who have died as a result of the hostile environment policy. Paulette Wilson, Sarah O'Connor, and Dexter Bristol all died. And also we have to, and this is part of National Reflection Day, so please reflect on 10 people have died in Britain connected with the Windrush scandal. So let's think about them and their families too. It's not just about COVID, this day is also about reflecting on all deaths in the last 12 months. I want to thank Sashi, who helped to design the initial work around the website. I want to thank her for her support. I want to thank Pen Mendoka, who's here, a good friend of mine, Pen. She's, if you go on the website, you'll see fantastic graphic illustrations. She's a graphic facilitator, Dr. Pen, I should say. And I've worked with Pen over the last several years. She's done some fantastic images and graphic as part of the campaigning work I've done. So I just want to thank you, Pen. And actually, Pen's going to do graphic illustration on some of the conversations today as well. So please thank you, Pen, for being here. I want to also thank the Winston Churchill Trust. There are some good things about Winston Churchill, but one thing is left, the legacy. A lot of Black and Asian people have benefited from the Winston Churchill Trust, despite his history, in terms of travel grants, using the money and resources to do stuff in the community, many reparations, debate. But anyway, but the key thing is I just want to thank them for their support in terms of their support in kind and money as well. I want to also thank, I can't mention the name of the bank but there are a number of young people who have contributed helping develop the work of the Majonzi Fund through developing the grant application forms, as you'll see, and updating the work of the website and some of the content. Ade, Nicole, Terence, thank you very much for all your support. And yes, we're going to go out for that drink after lockdown. Obviously, social distancing. I want to acknowledge also SIB. They're an organisation that does grant administration for a whole range of organisations, and they have pro bono. They're going to manage all the grant administration for the Majonzi Fund. So I want to thank Chan and Michelle for your support as well in this. I want to also kind of acknowledge Sandra sorry, who's been involved in doing some of the web work, who's based all the way in Atlanta. Feels like the Oscars, doesn't it? But this is important to acknowledge because people are contributing their time, and acts of kindness is at the heart of the whole response around the pandemic. People have done stuff in the community, have done stuff to help and support. So it's important to acknowledge this. So please, if you can bear with me, particularly Yancy as a chair. I want to acknowledge there have been a number of organisations. I said before, with over 2,000, there've been over 2,000 individuals have made donation to the Majonzi Fund, and we'd like to have more. But there are also, on top of that, a number of organisations, individuals who have gone on beyond to raise directly for the fund. I want to acknowledge London Gospel Community Choir and its founder, Basil Mead, MBE. And the choir who have donated the song in the rain. All the details, by the way, all the fundraising initiatives are on the Majonzi website. So I want to acknowledge London Gospel Community Choir. I want to acknowledge Jane David. And any rum drinkers in the house, order a bottle right now. Fantastic rum. You can tell it's empty. I need to order Shane. I need another bottle, man. Anyway, so yes, I want to thank Shane. Behind me is a fantastic image done by Henry Beaumont, who's a artist, graphic facilitator, and author. She works at the Guardian newspaper. She has done this fantastic image, which is basically a reflection of why we're here today. It's got the names of every single BME person, frontline worker, and NHS, and some members working retail transport who died in the last 11 months around COVID-19. And it's got images of some of the high profile figures. Some of them are still fighting for justice as well. It's for sale on the Guardian website for £35. If you want to make a donation, go to Guardian shop as well. Henny's on the call, so thanks Henny for all your support and the Guardian newspaper. I also want to thank Rias Phillips, a young man who approached Ubele and said, I want to be part of this initiative to raise money for the community. He has created an ebook, and he approached best chefs from the Asian, Southeast Asian community, Chinese community, the African Caribbean community, and created the ebook recipe book called Diaspora Recipes. And he has raised tens of thousands of pounds for the Majonzi Fund off his own back as a young man. And when people talk about young people don't do stuff, this is not true. Young people are doing stuff all the time, but they don't get the recognition. So I want to acknowledge Rias Phillips, please. Thank you, Rias, as well. I want to also acknowledge Alexander the Great. You heard him just a while ago. He has donated the song that you heard to Majonzi Fund. Alex is a fantastic person. He's a political activist, and his songs tell the story. So thank you again, sir, for your support. Really appreciate it, really, really do. I want to thank Carl Gabriel, who's a carnival artist, who has created this fantastic carnival piece of work, a shield. It's actually, we're thinking about auctioning it, but I said to Yancy, I want to buy it. Unless I show it to you now, if someone can make a good offer tonight, then I'll consider that. Should I show it to them, Yancy? Okay, this wasn't planned. So hold on a second. Oh, so this shield's taller than me, by the way. This is a massive shield. Look at it. It's massive. Look at that. When we have carnival again, may not be this year, but next year, we're going to have carnival next year. Yeah? When we have carnival next year, who's going to be walking down carnival with this? If anyone can match £500 or more, let Yancy know or me. I'm being serious about it. This is going to be worth a lot of money in years to come. I'm not joking. This Carl is a fantastic, well-known artist. So this is about 5 foot tall. Yeah. Seriously, it's tall. It's just as tall as Yvonne. Maybe. I'm not quite sure. Could be. Right. Just come to end, Chair. I want to thank the media. One of the key things that over the last 12 months, as you've noticed, a lot of journalists, black journalists, white journalists, Asian journalists, have done fantastic stories to expose and profiled lots of the victims who have died of COVID-19. Without those stories, the media, the public will not think that COVID had a disproportionate impact. All the journalists who's worked with myself personally, that's worked with Ubele, I want to just thank everyone who's people at BBC, ITV, Channel 4, Channel 5, Sky News, international stories, newspapers such as The Guardian, Independent, The Voice, local newspapers like Hackney Gazette, Islington Gazette, Express and Star, newspapers in Scotland, everywhere, and papers and newspapers in Wales who have shined a light, exposed and profiled and given humanity to the grief. This is really important. Often when there's a story about us dying or grief, it's one-dimensional. You know, I was on last night. I was on BBC, and they focused on one particular doctor who had died, and the way that story was done, it showed a nice. It was a family man. A doctor worked for NHS 40 years. An Arsenal fan. This is quite important. That we're not one-dimensional people. We are multi-dimensional people, and we grieve. But we grieve differently, and it's important to give that degree of humanity. Sometimes we've been dehumanized for far too long, and I want to acknowledge all those journalists who have played to make those stories as well. And finally, I want to thank you for being on here tonight and all the work and your support that you're doing. We've still got a long way to go, but please go onto the Majonzi website if you want to donate, if you want to make application, and if you just want to share your story, whether it's a memorial walk or you got something to share the stories. We've had quite a few blogs already as well. So I just want to thank everyone for being on here tonight to support the work. This is the official launch of the Majonzi Fund. You were here, you've made history, and just like to thank everyone. Thank you.
Thanks very much for that, Patrick. And I want to just say that Nevin, who is in the audience with us, has actually volunteered to do a virtual bike ride to help raise some funds for Majonzi. Just need to work out the logistics. She's an amazing cyclist, cycle coach, extraordinary. I think she said she's done over 200 and something odd miles already.
Right. So she's going to do a Caribbean tour, you see. So she's going to start from Jamaica. I'm not going to get controversial here, guys.
Trinidad. Starting in Trinidad.
No, you're going to start from Jamaica. You can work your way up to the, Windward Islands and come back again.
Okay.
Okay, we'll go there. Okay.
So we will have that conversation. And thanks again so much, Nevin, for volunteering to support us. And as you were speaking, Patrick, about us not being one-dimensional, Karina is here to share her story, her lived experience of losing family to COVID-19.
Hi, everyone. Yes, my name is Karina. And first of all, I would like to say thank you so much for the great work that the Ubele team is doing. Like, it has been a great experience so far to be part of all these events and the songs and the words. Like, I feel very moved and a little emotional. So please bear with me. Last year, exactly this month, my family, everyone in my home got the coronavirus. Especially my mom, she was very, very, very ill for 1 month. At some point, I just felt very scared because I thought, like, I don't know like my mom is just like so ill, and we didn't know much about the whole virus and how to face this. And it was like a really hard time, but we never imagined that the hardest time will be later, 6 months later, when we lost one of our uncles with COVID. We thought it was a really hard moment for our family. But again, we never imagined that we'll be losing more relatives in 1 year. So in these 6 past months, we have lost 4 relatives with COVID, one after another. And just 3 weeks ago, we lost our grandfather, and it has been like a really hard journey, because you never are ready to face this, this situation. And also, how can you support, like, I'm a mom, I didn't know how to support her. She been going through, losing our uncles, losing our cousins, and then just losing her father. So it has been really hard, and I think that this work that you're doing is so key, is so important, because being living in this country and being not able to go back home and say goodbye to your relatives, or remember them, or just do something for them, as Patrick, we were mentioned before, like we normally do a funeral, we cook, we gather with our family, and we have that support. And being here, we couldn't do that. It was all through Zoom, and it's not the same experience. And it's just now 3 weeks. We still, we as a family, still dealing with, with the situation, and trying to be healed, from the loss, and also trying to know how to cry, whether you stay strong, whether how to just manage those emotions. And again, that's what I feel like this project is so amazing, and the work that you're doing. I've been involved in different other initiatives from Ubele, and I just admire Yvonne and all the work, as Ubele does. So my mom basically tried to go to Ecuador, because it's where my grandfather is. She was very desperately to just go back there. But unfortunately, because of the new regulations that enforce you to, if you come back, you have to pay a fee of 1,000 pounds and around 800 just to quarantine. That was not possible. And I think that adds something else to the to the situation, and how to keep, I want to go but I can't go. I want to say goodbye to my relatives, but I just can't do by Zoom now. So it has been a really hard journey, as I said. But why I wanted to share this with you, because I feel like when I think about my grandfather, my relatives, I think about them, and I see a picture as the greater fighters, because they've been fighting. They've been fighting for their life, even fighting for the last breath. And when I remember them, I would like to encourage you to remember them as the greater fighters, because they were fighting. My grandfather was fighting. The doctor said, we don't understand, he's not breathing by himself anymore, but he is still awake. And that just, made me think or remember him as someone who was fighting for his life, but there was nothing else to do. So let's remember our relatives as the greatest fighters, because they've been the greatest fighter during this pandemic. So I just wanted to share that. And again, great job, it has been amazing so far, the event, and just, yeah, keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you very much, Karina. On behalf of all of us, we're sorry for your loss. We're sending you love, and here's a massive hug from us to you. Thank you very much. And I was going to ask Alexander the Great to introduce the next person, but I thought, I'll do it myself. So Will Joseph, she's a peer recovery trainer at the NHS Trust. She's one of these people who's been entertaining us on a Friday evening, and she writes some amazing, amazing poetry. We heard that her poetry, 8 of them, I think, has been published in a book. Wilhelmina Joseph, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hi, good evening, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here today. It's so heartbreaking remembering all those that we've lost. It's really hard to talk right now because I've come from a funeral today, my niece's funeral. And like Karina, it's just been relentless, one after the other, after the other. I've lost counts of how many funerals I've been to. And something else Karina has mentioned, how we grieve is causing, the lack of that is causing us grief. Not being able to grieve the way that we normally grieve, it's impounding the grief. So I wrote this poem. I actually have 2, but this is the one that I wrote, and it's called Missing. Fragile bodies letting go. She's gone, he's gone, they've gone, leaving me out in the cold, shivering, shocked, shook up. Grief mugged me in broad daylight, threatening my composure, tearing away my outer casing, eggshell fine, baby's bones, ashes on the breeze. No prostrate women wildly weeping, no hugs of reality, no stories dim with age unfolded, no gales of laughter seeping through open windows, sliding under doorways, causing curious neighbors to wonder. No large pots stewing, contents bubbling contentedly. No small children dashing through forests of legs. No teenagers leaning casually on walls, wearing squeaky new sophistication, far too cool for school, nervous in their still ill-fitting adult bodies. No clink of bottles passed around, spirituous liquors having their day. No libations poured, no Roman Catholic prayers intoned, litanies tripping off our tongues. No ancestors invited, no transition marked, no comfort in our grief. That's missing. And this one is called I Can't Cross Over. I can't cross over because you're holding me so tightly that the tears trickle down my cheeks and drip from my chin with the memory of past pain. The sadness is suffocating. I can't cross over because your heart is as fragile as butterflies' wings in a raging tempest. Decades together dissolve into just a few seconds. I can't cross over because you believe that the world is against you, but face her and embrace her. The terror is not real. I can't cross over because your being and mine are intertwined, but my DNA is my legacy. It will save you. Let me go so you can heal. Thank you. And I do
Thank
that
you so much.
in tribute to my baby girl niece, Paulina Carol Joseph. May she rest in peace.
May she rest in peace. Thank you for sharing that with us, Will. Yeah, it is so tough. It really is. We're not able to grieve the way that we need to for the healing to happen. You know, I went to a funeral this morning and it was 3 hours long. It was interactive, but I sat in my dining room by myself, sobbing by myself, you know, nowhere to put that. It's tough. I just want to say, for those who may notice, Will is the spouse of Alexander the Great, very talented double act with very talented children as well. Oh, that's lovely. There you go.
I love to everyone, especially to you, Patrick. Take care.
Thank you so very much, Will. And my dear friend, Tashini, I know she has lost quite a few members of her family too. Tash, tell us your story.
Well, it started way back in January. I think just before we got the full impact of what COVID was, and when the people were very much panicking about it was out there, nobody really knew what it was going to do, what it was capable of. And the first set of people that I was very close to died. It was a very close family friend who to me was like uncle, and we called him uncle. And he was the first person I knew who died. And what I just found really sad about his passing was because they didn't know how to handle people with COVID deaths back then. He was taken straight from his hospital bed, straight in the hospital gown he was wearing, and placed in a coffin. He died on his own. His family were never able to look at him, to say their goodbyes in our normal rituals. We've talked about rituals today and how much we've all got, every culture's got its own rituals of how they handle death, and not being able to follow through some of the rituals that we follow through. And back then, when those first funerals, they weren't even allowing them in church. He was taken from the hospital morgue to the graveside, and they gave him a small graveside ceremony, and that was it. And as you know, especially in the Caribbean culture, that is absolutely zero to the way we behave when somebody dies. And for me in particular, I've lost aunts, I've lost close friends. Even this week, I've lost 2 people. And to me, it's almost as if they're not gone because I didn't go through the rituals. I didn't go through that grieving process. I didn't go through where I go and spend time with the family. I didn't go to a 9-night. I didn't go to a church service. I didn't go to the cemetery. So for me, I'm finding, even though, yes, I've been told they've gone, but in my heart, I find it very difficult to accept that because I didn't take part in rituals, you know. And for everybody that has, you know, and anybody that's lost anybody, which is most people, you'll understand exactly where I'm coming from. And no doubt you feel the same way. The rituals have gone, and it's going to take a long time. And I was speaking to my children, I said, when you have your own children, and when you talk about this pandemic, because they will, they've had in history, just like the world wars did, you know, what will they tell their children? Will they tell their children about how they felt they'd lost people and they just couldn't grieve? Will they tell their children about the heroic people who put their lives forward to make sure that we kept ticking over? You know, what will they pass on to say about this pandemic? You know, to each and every one of us, I have to say, we're still here. I had COVID right at the beginning too. After being terrified by my specialist saying, because of my health conditions, that I would never survive a case of COVID, here I am, still here, making my noise, driving everybody as I do. But that's me. So, you know, it's just been a horrifying year in many, many ways. And sort of finish off today, I said to Yancy, I wanted to write something really personal, but I had 2 friends die day after each other this week, and my head just kind of went all over the place. But I found a piece of writing, a poem that somebody had written about COVID. And this is something I think no matter where in the world you are, you can relate to this piece. Now, if I start reading it odd, it's because I've lost my glasses and I'm using somebody else's and they're not very good. Okay, so this poem is called The COVID Obit. Obit is short for obituary. It's written by a guy called Richard Carey Joel, and he's from Harrisburg in Pennsylvania. And I found this very apt. Someone's mother died from this virus, and then it was someone's son, a brother, then a sister, and yet there were none who passed from this world with a loved one by their side, to hear their last words and to share their last cry. They died alone, surrounded by strangers in masks, all behind plastic shields, performing their tasks. And though they were caring, they were not family, who were prevented from being there due to COVID-19. This pandemic, this plague, this corona insanity, disrupting our lives, impairing our humanity, even altering death, and how it's observed, as morgues replace a ceremony that each of them deserved. With not a soul at graveside, standing close to say farewell, no mass gathering after burial in this deadly viral hell, where social distance, not embrace, is the intimacy of the day, while a suffering human race expresses their dismay. So a mother of 83 and a daughter of 48 and the father of 3 small children leave this world, yet still wait. The goodbyes and mournful tears of the people they so loved, who were all kept far away by this scourge I'm speaking of. And each with the same obit, where it is duly noted that in the year 2020, they expired due to COVID. Now this poem, it just hit me here because it really was saying what I felt. I think if I was going to write something, that was it. You know, just to finish off, this year has been so hard on so many people for so many reasons. But for all those frontline staff, the doctors, the medics, the transportation people, the shopkeepers, the people that were there creating our food, anybody that held on to their job and kept going during lockdown and expired as a result, may we salute you. You did your best to keep this country going. And I hope that in years to come, your families will never forget you. I hope your communities will remember you. And also, people of this whole country remember the sacrifice that you made so that we could still be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tashini. We are sorry for your loss. I know we lost a mutual friend at the end of last year. Really sorry for your loss. And Tashini has been the person who started the food project that we did over the Christmas. In spite of her health challenges, Tashini was like, come on, girl, we got to do this. We got to go out there and feed the disadvantaged people, support others in the community who need help. So thank you again, Tashini. My friend from how long?
Too long.
Too long.
Yeah.
Love you, girl. Love you. And now we have Rose. Rose is an amazingly talented young woman. The first time I heard this particular, I hope you're singing the song We Love. I heard the song. I was, yeah. Rose, introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. My goodness, what a solemn moment and vibe this afternoon. I too lost an uncle to this deadly virus, and it's been tough not having to, celebrate his life the way we wanted to, but in all of it, I want to give some encouragement, I know it's hard, but we are still here. And it is very important that we really live life full, so that when we die very empty, you know. And I'm thankful that we have a foundation like this that is you know, it's great to be a part of something like this, because greatness never dies. If it's one thing people remember, is greatness, you know. And I strive to be the best me I could be every day. I'm not perfect. I don't strive to be perfect, but the best me that I could be every day. And, you know, I encourage everyone here to do the same. I am not singing the song Sweet Vibes alone. When Super Trini Vibes told me about the event, I thought another composition of mine might have been more fitting. It's called We All Need Love. And in this world we live in today, love conquers all more than ever. You know, that's what we really need, you know. And embrace no longer does it, but your vibe and energy more than ever tells a lot, you know. And we definitely all need love. So that is the song I'm going to do now. Just excuse me, I'm not so let's see here.
Love, love, la 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 love, la la la, ooh la 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 love, ooh love, love, la 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 love, la 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 love.
Are you all hearing the music? Okay, that was just a test. So let's get into it, and I hope you all enjoy.
Love, love, la 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 love, la la la, ooh la 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 love, ooh love, love, la 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 love, la 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 love.
We are all human, different stories to tell. We've all been through it, our own versions of it. If we were we would find out. It's all much for having me.
Love, love, la 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 love, la la la, ooh la 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 love, ooh love, love, la 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 la.
Thank you so much, Rose. That was amazing, wonderful. You're super talented. Thanks for sharing your talents with the world. And we've got Drew and Nisha to round up, and then I'll come and just say some thank yous.
Hi, Yancy. Our camera seems to be turned off. It says the host has stopped our camera. Oh.
Oh, there.
Okay, we got it.
Yeah, I mean, really just to finish off by inviting you guys at home to join us in singing a little bit. That would be really beautiful. To just, yeah, hold the losses in your heart and soul, and to kind of intend for these words that you sing from your own body to reach the ones that have passed on. So let me just check what words we have. So the first word I'd like everyone to sing is Ashe. And join in when you can. Ashe. And the next word to send up is ikigai, which is purpose. Ikigai, 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 ikigai. And keep breathing deep as you send the words up to our loved ones. Yemaya is the next word. This is the substance of water, the divine water quality, of which we are 70%. Yemaya, 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 Yemaya. I hope you're all feeling the vibes in the body. Next word is Gaia. 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 Oh.
Thank you so very much for that. What a beautiful end to a good evening of just sharing experiences, reflecting on those we've loved and lost. I apologize that we've gone over time. I just need to say a couple of quick thank yous. I'm not going to do an Oscar-winning thank you like Patrick did. My thanks to the Ubele Initiative, to BAMEstream, to You Give Hope, particularly Brian, Super Trini Vibes, and to Sheeny. Thanks for your unwavering support and making it happen every week. To the Majonzi Fund and Marie Curie, and to Penn, who's in the space. To the panelists who shared their stories and the amazingly talented artists who shared those talents with us, thank you. To the attendees, our supporters, our champions, the activists, those, as they say, who got our back, thank you, thank you, thank you. And don't forget, if you or anyone you know needs some support around grief, loss, or bereavement, hop over to www.BAMEstream.org. Have a look at the Majonzi Fund website, www.majonzi-fund.com. Thank you so very much, everyone. It's been emotional, but it's been good to share this space. Thank you. Have a good evening. Thank you.